Well, it's a great honor and a privilege to be here. I want to thank you for the invitation. It's nice. I don't think I will ever grow tired of actually being face-to-face with people after the period of time where we spent all of our time on Zoom and behind masks. So wonderful to be here. I completely concur with illustrious sir on the Premier Hospital. Northern California Hospital is, in fact, a fully, I call it a medical center, all-in-one medical center. Everything from specialty clinics to acute care and everything in between. I am happy to report that we continue to be doing great work and are in the period of time of recovery from COVID, where so many of the things that we traditionally did have been restricted because of the COVID restrictions. So this past year, our average daily census was back up in the 20s. We've actually started this year with our average daily census being 25, and last week spent a couple of days and close to 30 kids that were in the hospital. On Tuesday, of the 30 kids that were in the hospital, 15 were on the burn service, and the others were recovering from complex orthopedic surgeries. We're there for colorectal post-surgical recovery, or we're part of our acute inpatient rehab program. I mentioned the burn service on purpose because as a fraternity, thank you very much. You generously donated $25,000 to a flight for a boy who was age 4 years old from Mexico. And a fairly substantial upper body burn required some innovation to get him here safely. But your gift gave that gift of life. The child arrived, and I'm very pleased to be able to tell you that on Friday, that young boy was discharged from our hospital. He remains in Sacramento because he needs some follow-up, physical therapy, and there's some ongoing work that we need to do with dressing changes and making sure that he's stabilized. But he's out of the acute care phase, and he's actually in a place with Ronald McDonald House Charities where there's that sense of being, I'm on my road back to normal. And none of that would have been possible if you had not stepped forward and given that life-saving flight. So we really do thank you so very much. Thank you. I also want to report that starting on November 2nd, it's been a long road, as those who are closest to this project know. The Buddy Room, the Golden Bear Foundation Buddy Room, we finally got the cart, hallelujah. I thought I was going to scream and do a beam of light from the top of the hospital when it arrived. It arrived. The unbelievable outpouring from this fraternity, from Rosna, Encore, and South Bay Shrine Club gave us our starting plush creatures, including some Vermont teddy bears. And we have been giving bears away since November 2nd. It was our first day open. And one of the things that is truly remarkable about this program is that it is elective. Meaning elective is that kids are invited to come up and select a buddy that will be theirs to keep, and theirs often to emulate maybe the circumstances that they face. But sometimes they're not ready for that. It's like too big a decision. They get up to the cart and they're like, oh, and they pause, and they're like, can I come back? Yes, you may come back. And then it may come back a couple of days later. But it's a part of what makes Shriners a special place, is there are things that we have to make these kids do because it's part of the medical treatment. Often it's painful, often it's invasive, often the families have a lot of work that they have to do to recover from what they're observing for their kids. Everything else we do, we integrate them into the decision making and beginning that sense of empowerment. And the Buddy Room program is a big part of that sense of empowerment. When I feel up to it, I get to choose my buddy who will be with me for the night of my stay. I think we've given away about 125 plush creatures because they're not all bears, which is really, really phenomenal. And again, I thank you all for the support you've given that program. Some quick hospital news. I think probably you've heard some of this, but there's lots of change in the system. I can honestly say that in the Northern California location, regardless of what changes may come from medicine, We will continue to have specialty clinics, and the goal is to bring specialty clinics closer to the community of origin of the child, so that there's a hope to eventually have serve a greater expansive field of community clinics, specialty clinics that are tied to our location. We will always be doing surgery. We will always be doing inpatient care, because we will always be doing complex surgeries that require an intensive care unit and a medical surgical unit. So as a hospital is going to remain a part of our name for as long as we can imagine, and hopefully, eventually, through our research, we'll be able to take away some of that, because we've discovered some great advances. This year, we were the second hospital in North America to be selected and designated a Level 1 Pediatric Orthopedics Surgical Center by the American College of Surgery.